Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to edge coat around the edges of the bag to give it a finished look. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut my corners. I'm going to round them off so I can put on these corner tips. And you can get these at Ohio Travel Bag. If you call them, they will send you a catalog. They have a lot of nice hardware that you can find in here. Will really give your bag a different look and a very classic look. You can find buckles, strap holders, just different types of hardware that you may need. Now, just to kind of give you an idea of what this will look like once we put it on here, sometime I will use them on clutch bags. Well, I put the corner tips on, and sometime I will use them on a watch band or a wristband or a cuff, as some people call them. So these really give your bag a nice finish look. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut around my corners. And basically what I did, I'm just taking this pattern here, which is the same that I used to make this watch band. It's the same pattern that I used to make this cuff. It's the same pattern. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use this to get my shape. Now what you would have to do, you would have to experiment and then cut different curves to where you can kind of figure out how you need to be able to cut that out to make this fit nice and firm. So I'm going to cut this out. So this will fit over here. Now this leather, it's a little too thick for this, but what I will do, and I'll show you once I start to install them, I will press these down and make it a little flatter, a little thinner, and then I will be able to fit this on here. But I'll show you that once we get ready to install these. Now, they also sell this other type. Matter of fact, they sell about 3 or 4 different types. This is the best one. They're cast. These here, you know, they're kind of cheaply made, and you put them on, and on the back, you press it down, but they will come off on you. These right here have 3 screws. So once you put them on, they have the 3 screws that you can screw in, which locks them on. You don't have to worry about those coming off. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is edge coat. This is edge coat. You can get this at the Tandy Leather Factory. It's water based. Never shake it up. Then I'm going to apply the edge coat with a Q-tip. Okay, our next step is that I would take the Mod Podge and I will put it around the edges just like I did the edge coat. This will give it a nice glossy finish. And you know, one thing you would hear me constantly talk about is getting a real nice professional finish to your product. That is what people will look at the most. Not so much of how something is designed, but they will look at your craftsmanship. And your craftsmanship will have a lot to do with the finish. Now this goes on just like, it looks like Elmer's glue. It's white, but once it dries, it dries very clear and have a very gloss look to it. It just gives it such a nice finish. He's going to do the same thing, just like you did your edge coating all the way around. I always try to keep a damp paper towel nearby, and I just wipe off the excess. Now that we have the bag cut out, which is the front of the bag, which is here, and then we have the back and the flap. And this is the gusset, which is going around the side of the bag. Earlier when I spoke about what I did was that I cut this out longer than I needed. And just to give you a good example why I do that. And this is a bag that I'm working on. And I made the mistake of not cutting out the gusset longer than I should have. And if you could see, it came up short. It came up maybe about an inch and a half short. Now, how it did that, I have no idea. But so I have to go back and I have to recut this out. So now I'm going to lose all of this. If I would have just cut it out longer, I may be losing maybe about 2 inches instead of 26 inches. So that's why it's always good to cut your gusset out longer than your measurement called for. I know that you might think, well, you know what, my measurement is good, so it should be okay. Well, sometimes it is and sometimes it's not. And this one here is longer than needed. So what I will do, I will put the gusset on, and this is where I will get the true measurement. I'll use these clamps to clamp this on. And putting the gusset on is very easy because the leather will bend. You just bend it to the shape that you need for it to be. See, this is the gusset. Now, I'm about 3, maybe 4 inches wider than I need to be, but that's okay because I'm not going to lose 26 inches. I will only lose maybe about 4 inches. So I will just take this, mark here, move these clamps, then I will cut. Now I have my gusset. But before I put the front to the back of the bag, okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a pocket inside of this bag. Now, this bag here has a pocket on the outside, and it also has one on the inside. So I'm going to take the measurements for a pocket to go on the inside. And the next video that I do, I would do another type of tote bag where it's sewed from the inside out. And this one is going to be sewed from the outside, which would be sewed from out here. The next one that I do, we would turn the bag inside out and sew it, and I'll show you how to put in a lining and pockets with zippers. But for this one right here, it's just going to be just a straight cut pocket. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to determine how wide and deep I want my pocket. So I'll use the front of the bag to get my measurement. So what I'll do is I want the pocket to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inches by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 inches by 5 inches. So I will make a 5 by 5 template. This will be the template for a pocket. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cut out a pocket. And like I said before, this pocket is sewed on the outside. For this bag, we'll sew the pocket on the inside. Very simple. It's the same process. Making this type of pockets is the same process as making the front of the bag and the back of the bag. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to have a primary and a secondary. So basically what I will do, I would just take the primary, trace it out. Okay, now that we have let the primary and the secondary dry, what we're going to do now is cut it out, and then we will edge coat it, put the Mod Podge around it to give it a nice glossy finish, and then stitch across the top. So we're going to cut this out, and then we will do our edge coating. Now that we have a pocket cut out, just keep in mind the next video that I do on a tote bag, what I want to do is show you how to make a tote bag with a gusset that is sewn from the inside. And what we're doing on this video is that we're making a tote bag that is sewn from the outside. See how you can see the stitches on the outside? That's what I mean by sewn from the outside. And look at this one, you do not see the stitches. It'll be sewn from the inside. Now this one here have a fabric lining and a pocket inside with zippers. So I will show you how to put in zippers, how to put pockets in with zippers. The process is close to the same process, but it is a little different. So just keep that in mind. There is a second way of doing a tote bag. Like I said, one is sewn from the inside and one is sewn from the outside. So just keep that in mind. Okay, now that we have the pocket cut out, now what we're going to do is we're going to do the edge coating. Okay, now that we have the pocket edge coated with the Mod Podge on it, we'll let that dry for about 5 minutes. Then we'll go back and we will stitch the top of the pocket, put the label on, and then sew the pocket onto the bag.